Cardiovascular disease remains the #1 cause of mortality within the United States. I'm Dr. Sri Banerjee, and in this segment, I'll be going over cardiac imaging and why it is so important that we look at cardiac imaging due to the fact that it still remains the #1 cause of mortality. As promised, I have taken you to the Cardiac Atlas project, and in this there are several types of ways that images have been taken and then processed together. So let's peruse through this website. So looking at the Cardiac Atlas project is a worldwide consortium and online resource for integrating and sharing cardiac imaging examinations, together with parametric model-derived functional analyses and associated clinical information. So they've established large-scale databases of cardiac imaging examinations. And these are normal and pathological heart findings. So scrolling downward, the left ventricular shape is in a certain way, then the biventricular shapes are in a certain way, and then the left ventricular clinical modes. So I'm going to scroll down to some of the data sets that are available. So I'm going to start with the Sunnybrook Cardiac Data, SCD. This is a public domain dataset that does not require any request authorization. It contains 45 CMR study from mixed pathologies with expert-drawn SAX contours and 3D finite element models. Let's visit this briefly, and then these are the pathology groups with heart failure, left ventricular hypertrophy over here, and then heart failure without infarction, and then heart failure with infarction. And the ejection fraction is less than 40%. Typically 60% is a good number. So let's go back here and take a look at some of the other data sets that are available. The SCMR consensus contour, this is a data set containing only 15 mixed pathology cases, multi-vendors and multi-centers. The consensus contours were derived from 7 expert readers from 7 world-class magnetic resonance core labs. It is the perfect data for an external test validation set. Then determine. Determine is standing for defibrillators to reduce risk by magnetic resonance imaging evaluation. And this is 450 patients that have coronary artery disease and mild to moderate left ventricular dysfunction. So this cohort requires a review request by the determined data contributor and no manual contours, no clinical diagnosis. So this is a good data set for defibrillators. And then you have MESA, a multi-ethnic study of multi-ethnic study of atherosclerosis. This cohort contains 2,450 asymptomatic CMR studies. This requires review request by the MESA Data Contributor Committee. Typically with MESA, I've had some interaction with how to retrieve it. And with MESA, you need a collaborator. Usually in the past, needed a collaborator that was using MESA in order to be able to access this. They might have changed this policy. I'm talking about 10 years ago. So the next one is Congenital Heart Disease Atlas, and these are extremely hard to come by, which represents MRI data sets, physiologic clinical data, and computational models from adults and children with various congenital heart disease. And a lot of the congenital heart disease include atrial septal defects, ventricular septal defects, and some of the other tetralogy of Fallot, and then other heart conditions that may take place. And the heart forms within the embryo at week 4. So MITIA is MR-informed 3-dimensional echocardiography analysis. And that consists of 134 cases of 3D echocardiography images with labels. So this is 3D echo. And then AMRG Cardiac Atlas, this is a public domain dataset that only contains a single healthy subject. So these are all the data sets that are available. I hope this has provided you with some information about various data sets. Thank you for listening.